These things are so good. One of my absolute favorite snacks these days, something that is all natural, no fillers, no nitrates, no mystery meat, packed in organic spices, naturally fermented. It's this guy right here. The 100% grass-fed beef steaks by Paleo Valley. Whether it's a garlic summer sausage, I'm currently eating the jalapeno. Unreal. Protein that you can trust, a great healthy snack on the go. Sorry to eat with my mouth full. This stuff is so good. You can't go wrong with any of the flavors. If you would like to learn more, that's spicy. I got some cake. If you'd like to learn more about these incredibly tasting, nutritious, on-the-go protein snacks, head to paleovalley.com and even use our support code at checkout to save 15%. That's paleovalley.com/everforward to save 15%.
Hey everyone, what's up? I'm Roxy, Roxanne Saffaie, founder of Black Belt Beauty, a holistic high-performance lifestyle brand. I am an empowerment coach, a beauty and wellness expert, a writer, and above all, a lover of helping you reach your fullest potential in life. I just had the most epic conversation with the homie Chase. And, we went on an adventure. So be ready for a lot of fun and maybe even some discomfort, because a lot of what I perceive to be self-love and what helps you develop real self-confidence is positioning yourself to get into those uncomfortable moments and find out who you are in those moments so you can continuously grow from that position. In addition to some of the hard stuff, there was a lot of fun, laughter, some frameworks that will help you to gain more self-awareness, more self-love, more self-confidence, and ultimately help you to stay rooted in your most authentic self and to keep investing in what is necessary to build self-trust. There's never been a better time to lean into yourself, to learn how to trust yourself in hard moments. So thank you, Chase, for having me on. I can't wait to do it all with you again. And you guys, I hope you really love this talk as much as I did.
3, 2, 1.
Roxanne. How many times do people do that on a podcast with you? Do you get the police song?
You're the first on the podcast.
Ooh, nice.
So congratulations. But for my whole life, if I had a penny every time I heard that, I'd be balling right now.
That's because there are a lot of lame people like me who just live off of dad jokes. Yeah. So.
Well, it's one of my favorite bands.
Oh, no way. Cool. Okay.
Like, to have a song by the Police named after you it's a big deal.
Did you think as a kid, like, Sting, you shouldn't have, like,
I mean, I was too young at the time but like growing up, I mean, I dug the song, when I was younger, and then like growing up, I'm like, yes, like if you're going to have a band produce a song around your name, feel pretty badass that it was the Police, because they're legends.
Yeah, that is pretty badass. And Roxanne, officially, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself and give us the full badass name, because you got some mad culture, some mad influence going on. I'm excited to dive into.
Oh my God, where do I start? Okay, well, my full name, Roxanne Saffaie. Everyone calls me Roxy. So I'll break down career a little bit, right? So currently, I am an empowerment coach, founder of Black Belt Beauty, my holistic high-performance lifestyle brand, podcast host to Black Belt Beauty Radio. And the reason why I say right now is because for the larger part of my career life, I spent it as a makeup artist, specifically in the zone of celebrity and entertainment. So I launched Black Belt Beauty about 4 years ago. Podcast is having a 3rd-year anniversary birthday this month. Oh my God.
Oh, congrats.
Good time. Thank you.
Nice. EF Radio, our birthday's in January. Yeah. So we're just a month behind you. Yeah.
It's so amazing. I'm having the podcast and I feel like you can relate. The podcast is my baby. It's my love, so it's a labor of love.
Sure. Yeah.
It takes so much work, but it's passion work, so yeah, I mean, that's, in terms of like career, this is what I do. Where do you want me to go from there?
Let me pick you apart, like every good Persian parent does already for their children. Let me just let me critique everything. Yeah, all my Persian people out there, you got to be getting a good kick out of today. It's amazing. Yeah. So you have so many things going on in there, and one thing I've gotten to know about you, from what you've shared with me and just in your content. You are just being you. It seems like from a very early age, have just, hey, let me express, let me be, let me share, let me live who I am. And there very much is all consuming in your content of, we are living the life that we are. I think I may be butchering your own quote there, but that it makes so much sense. It's so simple. And I know that that's what you help people do. And you are a badass black belt in jiu-jitsu, is that correct? Is that
no?
Or how does that even work? I don't know karate and stuff. Like, but I just know wax on, wax off. That's about it. But you do jiu-jitsu. You are you've been a celebrity, professional makeup artist, podcaster, entrepreneur, coach, like all of these things. Like, when does one start? When does the other one stop? When did you know you were something and not another? Or are you just always Roxy, always being you?
For sure, always Roxy, always being me. And I think, okay. First of all, not a black belt in jiu-jitsu. What an inspiring
I just made that
thought.
up. Yeah.
No, I love it. No, well, no. Do you know why some people actually think that is because black belt beauty? So then they know I train jiu-jitsu. So actually, let me tell you what black belt beauty means. So black belt beauty to me, black belt beauty is the highest standard, right? We all know that it's the higher standard. So when I think of highest standard, I'm also thinking of like highest, fullest potential. When we are living from our fullest potential, our highest potential in life, from my opinion, I feel like that is to be living a beautiful and fulfilled life.
Of course.
So this is black belt beauty. Now you can have fun with it because, I'm a beauty expert. So I'm for sure a black belt in beauty. And then I train jiu-jitsu. So, you can have fun with that, but that's actually what black belt beauty means. And when I started Black Belt Beauty, it's interesting because I was in the thick of my makeup career. Nothing was wrong. I was literally like on the upward swing of like moving into the top 1% of a very, very, very competitive industry. Wow. Right.
And you were, was it here in Los Angeles at the time? So, so not only like top of your game, but like the top of where that game is held.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and maybe this is just fun to insert. So when I grew up in LA, but immediately after high school, I moved to Hawaii. So 2 different islands. So Hawaii became home for me. So I moved to Kauai and then I moved to Oahu. And I would live there for over a handful of years until I knew that there was more for me to do. I just felt the urge. And that urge took me to New York. So then New York City would become my home for over another handful of years. Moved to Europe for a little while, back to New York, and then back to LA. So now we're back in LA and I go full focus into my makeup career because I had started doing makeup years prior to, but I went full commitment to my makeup career. So now cut to back where we were, where I'm like in the middle of it. And the idea for Black Belt Beauty came around. It actually came around because or I shouldn't say that this is what spawned the idea. This is actually what helped me take the steps forward to launching it. I broke a bone in my foot training jiu-jitsu. So I was in a boot and I couldn't, I was limited to the things I can do. So I was kind of sidelined more. And that's when I launched the website, which at the time was a blog.
Okay.
Where it came from essentially is my lifestyle and also the things that I'm very passionate about. So Black Belt Beauty is focused around optimizing your life performance by way of self-development. So mindset's a huge piece of that. Wellness, integrative health, specifically integrative beauty, mindfulness. This is all a lifestyle that supports this optimization of your performance, which is something that I have always been really turned on by. Like, what is my best, right? So the tagline for Black Belt Beauty is turning your best into better. And so when I started Black Belt Beauty, again, it wasn't because something was wrong in my makeup career and I got to get it. No, it was just like, I felt the urge also because at that point, I had been really paying attention to feedback in my life. So feedback being like, how am I contributing? Like, what do people really appreciate, and what are they gaining from by
Right.
me,
Yeah.
right? And so whether it
What's
was,
the value exchange?
yeah,
Yeah.
so it could have been, just to give a couple of examples, um, somebody that I met in the line of the grocery store where she's asking me like, "Oh, do you like that, supplement or whatever?" And all of a sudden, like, I've given her advice and she's super stoked and it's helped her health, or it's somebody personal in my life where I've helped their mindset while they're, going through something, but always in those pillars, right? So like mindset, health, beauty, where I'm able to contribute information that would support the individual to make gains in their life, right? And I realized that in this paying attention piece that I'm talking about, that I actually, there was impact there. Like people, the information would resonate, people would apply it, it would make a difference in their life, right? In addition to that, the feedback was also like, how do I feel about that? Like, this stuff is natural for me, like I love doing this, right? So then I was like, well, shit, girl, okay, let's do something
Maybe I
with
got
this
something
then.
here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think it's an important piece to put in, Chase, because one thing that I've really been good at doing my whole life is listen to myself. Listen to myself above anybody else, right? So when you think about like how I moved around the world, that's me listening to myself. I didn't always have a plan. My life was certainly not easy as a result of it. There were times where people that I loved didn't understand what I was doing, and that creates, a not great energy. But I just, I've always trusted this guidance system in me, right? And it's interesting because the more that I leaned into that guidance system, and trusted it, the more trust that actually would become developed and fortified as a result, right? And so
you can't get confidence without action first, right? You need to do something to gain that traction to then give you momentum to show that you can do it.
100%. I mean, that's where one of my brand's mottos and campaign, seek the fight, comes in. It's like, you gotta move towards the fight. You have to be willing to get punched in the face. And I'm not saying that in a literal sense, right? Unless you're
Maybe
a
if you're on
fighter.
the mat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Unless
If you're
you're a
rolling.
fighter. In my life, I have plenty of them in my life, but no, it's to say that I do believe that a lot of people are they back away from the discomfort. And I get it. Like, who wants to get punched in the face? Who wants to feel what failure feels like? Who wants to feel like what, you're putting yourself out there and it's crickets, and like, nobody wants to feel that kind of shit, But to me, how do you even know who you are if you're not positioning yourself to be tested? I always say there's no handouts to badassery, right? And I wouldn't want it or any of it, even if there was, because the reason why I can speak with conviction is because I've earned my shit. Nobody handed it to me, and therefore nobody can take it away from me either. And when I say nobody, I'm also talking about just life in general. Like, we're in this really challenging moment, right? That is 2020 and all the things. Well, so much of my resilience and my strength and all of that has, because I've taken no shortcuts, because I've positioned myself to feel challenge and to discover myself in that challenge when circumstances that are completely out of my control come in. And like, I say it like this, and I feel like you would appreciate this, but like, I feel like, you're pummeling with life. And sometimes life is going to put you up against the cage, and your job is to learn the skills to get out, to get that underhook, and then go, no, I don't think so, right? And push life back up. But this is going to be ongoing for the rest of your life, right? So, to go back to the listening and the trust and the confidence piece, and go all the way back to Black Belt Beauty, I trusted that I didn't need to know all the answers. I just needed to take that step forward and listen to, hey, just put this out there and just play with it and see what would, and then, in comes my deep love for podcasting, right? This whole space where you could just, because I'm a geek and I just love learning.
Yeah.
And here, like, podcast is this beautiful space where you can learn anything. and you could be entertained while you're learning. Right. And so, and that wasn't necessarily an easy thing for me because this surprises most people when I say it, but I'm actually very introverted. I don't like labels, but it's the truth. Very, very introverted. I spend majority of the time in my life with myself because I like to spend time with myself. And I'm not someone who's ever been motivated by, hey, everybody look at me. Whereas like some people actually want to be seen that way, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of more of like the fucking maverick behind the scenes. Like I like being that person. But knowing that, first of all, I have a lot of wisdom that is supportive, that I have proof, and I want to be able to share this. I want to be able to support as many individuals as I can to live from their fullest potential, in addition to wanting to continuously learn and connect more with, others. I went for it and I launched the podcast. And again, like 3 years, happy birthday to Black Belt Beauty Radio this month. But yeah, I mean, that's like, that's a lot of, how do I say, like, because there's obviously so much more, but I feel like that's a big piece to put in because we just went on like an adventure of like listening to yourself and not knowing, you don't need to know all the answers. I didn't know when I started Black Belt Beauty that it would turn into, I didn't even know I was really starting a brand, straight up.
Yeah. We never really fully realize our own potential sometimes, right? Yeah.
I don't even know if it was that I was, for sure, yes, I agree with you. But I think it was more of like sometimes you're starting something as like with this agenda of like, I'm starting a brand. I felt like it was almost like adolescent. Like I'm very it's like the youthful, I don't know, like the kid in me is like project.
Arts and crafts time. Let's go.
Yes, exactly. So it was like Black Belt Beauty, but no. Yeah. So yeah. I'll stop there for now.
No, I love it. I want to go back to a key concept you're talking about there that I can definitely relate to, and just kind of putting myself into the position of, the listener, the viewer. Like, oh, that all sounds well and good, Roxy, or, Chase, it's great. We get it. You guys, you found your purpose. You can tap into yourself, but how? How do we listen to ourselves? Like, what does it actually look like? What did you go through, and what do you think it looks like for people, in general, or maybe even just super specific to right now? There's immense power in listening to ourselves, and there's a lot of guidance and wisdom, and at least a next step when we can just pause and listen to ourselves. But what does that look like? What does that really mean? Like, how do we listen to ourselves, Roxy?
Yeah, well, first, I think it's obviously going to be different for everybody, but I can say this. I've been writing for all of my life, for the most part, right? And that has, journaling specifically, that has played a huge role in the development of my self-awareness, right? So it's like me spending, and obviously when I'm a kid, I'm not like, oh, it's my high performance tool, I'm going to write down my goal. No, it wasn't that. It was that I
got mine right here.
Yeah.
Within arm's reach. Look at this. Look at this leather bound EF goodness. Shameless plug.
I love that. That's amazing. No, it's awesome. God, I want to show, I have a guided journal that I'll bust out and show you. It's not out yet. It's coming out next year. But anyways, when I first started writing, it was because I needed to spend time with myself, expressing myself. So honestly, I feel like I may have come downloaded with an edge in this space. Number one, I was always very connected to self. Like I always really felt comfortable tuning in and being in, whereas like a lot of people aren't actually, right? And for me, it was always comfortable. And then I would expand on that and like invest in it and develop it more by going into this, what I call my favorite room, this space called my journal. And the thing is like when you're writing, you have the ability to get your thoughts out and get more clarity on them. You have the ability to witness how you process things, right? And so even when you look back at your writing, it's like you can see your growth. You have this ability to spend time connecting with yourself. That's a voice. It's a voice. You want to turn that voice up or get more clear on that voice, you have to spend time with it, right?
Journaling has been a profound way to be the translator, I think, for our voice. It's like it's there. The voice is there. It's running in the background. It's even visceral a lot of times. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but you can feel that. But then you write it down, man. It's just like you find like the magic decoder key.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah, it's like tangible. Like you can like touch it. Like you can see it. And the clarity that you can get, the connection, it's a clarity and connection that you get. This is going to help fortify that voice and your ability to not only hear that voice, but understand that voice and then move, from that voice. And listen, it takes a lot of courage to listen to yourself, and especially when so much of the external is going to try and guide you away from it. Even loved ones who, I mean, like, it's almost like they have the most ability to do that because, let's just paint the example. Like, they want you in their mind, like it's safer if you go this way. Right. And they just want to feel safe about whatever your decision is. I'm saying they, because I'm not trying to pinpoint, like it's just mom or dad, but someone you love. Right. But
we can all relate to that. Yeah. They're like,
yeah, exactly.
What are you doing? Like, why are you deviating? We just want you to be happy, want you to be safe. And like, that's all well intentioned most of the time. But like, there is safety to be found in the uncertainty. There's safety to be found because then it's like, it's organic and we always know where to go to get more of it. Right.
I love that. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, when you have to create proof to trust yourself. If you're only listening to the external, how are you ever going to be able to, you've never bet on yourself. You've never given yourself the opportunity to prove to yourself, rise or fall, like I've got this, right? Like, so in my world, I've always bet on myself. And again, it hasn't made life easy, but what's so beautiful for me, especially at this point, is I can look back and go, fuck, I'm glad I opted out of easy, because in my opinion, it's way more painful to live a life that is not authentically myself, like my own. I'm a path creator, right? And I deviated from the matrix at a birth, like straight up. And, at the crossroad of like, do you listen to your inner guidance system or do you maybe take the safer route, or with it, like this evaluating thought of like, what's more painful, to not listen to yourself and just try and see what happens, or to go that route. And for me, it's always been, you got to listen to yourself. Way too, like, I don't even want to know what that feels like to not lean into, to have regret. I have no regrets. And I've been through some shit.
But isn't that the dichotomy though, Roxy? Isn't that the dichotomy of where I think so many people, maybe I'm making an assumption here, but we do that, right? We lean into ourselves. We're like, I'm going to go with my gut, go with my intuition, go with my head, my heart. And it's either going to work out well and you're going to be well on your way, or you're going to fail. You're going to crash and you're burned. Or betting on yourself, you're not going to win that round. Yeah. And then most of us, at least in the beginning, we tuck our tails between our legs and we go back to the safety. We go back to the security. We go back to that kind of, go with the flow. Why didn't you? I'm sure you've had experiences where listening to yourself hasn't really paid off, or at least not in the immediate way that you thought or had hoped. Like, what kept you from going back, tucking your tail in, and, what kept you there?
Yeah. Well, I think when I go back to my childhood, so I was a competitive runner. I wanted to be an Olympian up till I started surfing, and then my whole life changed. I cared about nothing but surfing. Greatness was always something that I was attracted to, right? So like when my father did a good job of presenting kind of ideas of greatness through individuals, whether it was an athlete, an engineer, or, what have you. It was just like greatness was something that was revered, and it was something that it resonated with me, right? And so like I felt greatness in me from a very young age. When I think about greatness, I'll give you an example of one of my like life heroes. I think about Rocky. Isn't that interesting? I'm thinking about the underdog. I'm thinking about the individual who got punched, not just in the ring, but in life, and kept getting back up and eventually got the hand raised. So from my perspective, I've created this relationship of it's okay to get punched, to fail, to feel hard, to know what it's like to get your ass knocked on the ground, to be on your knees. It's not okay to not get up and keep going, right? So for me, I've just always felt very connected to the getting back up part.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's where all the lessons are, right? It's you get knocked down and you stay down. And that's where many of us stay because getting back up is too hard, or we get scared. It's a traumatic experience. Like, look what happened last time. Mm-hmm. Or we just try to operate at a level that never allows for the opportunity to get knocked down. We always just stay up here, stay safe, right? And we're really missing out. And I pulled up something that I wanted to like keep as a reminder to show that I actually prepared for a little bit. But something on your website here, I think it ties in well what we're talking about here. It ties in so well to my life, what happened for me, all the times that I got knocked down, and the biggest thing that knocked me down, this loss of my father, going on 16 years ago now. And I had a choice. I was choosing for a long time to stay down there and just to stay in the misery and just, look at what happened to me, woe is me kind of thing. And it wasn't until I did this line that you have here about when we learn to utilize our challenges in favor of our growth, the entire game changes. Yeah. That could not be more true. When we lean into that, when we realize I was knocked down for a reason, like there is gold down there, there is life and purpose down there. Like, can you walk us through, what do you mean by that statement?
Yeah, well, so you can look at it as like stop, it's a roadblock, like don't even try and move forward, stay down. Or you can look at it as a stepping stone into greatness, right? Yeah, you got to do the work to climb up on that stone, and that's going to be hard. It's like getting back up part. That's hard for sure. But one of the greatest things that I've offered myself is this reframe of hard. So when I hear hard, literally my brain is like, boom, gold, challenge, go, money in the
opportunity,
bank, go.
Yeah,
exactly. It's an opportunity. It really is, because, and I can say, like, when I look at the woman that I am today, who I love very much, I'm like, yeah, girl, you've earned your badass stripes, straight up. Like, you've earned it because you kept getting back up. And, there were so many moments where, like, let's just say, I was so worthy of, getting that makeup job or getting the big or whatever. And like, I didn't, I came up short, and it wasn't because of my performance or whatever, but whatever the circumstances was, it would have been so easy for me to just be demoralized. Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is, man, and this is where self-love is such a big piece of the conversation for me. I love myself too damn much to not get back up.
Say that again. Say that again.
I love myself too damn much to not get back up. It's like, I'm my biggest fan. I'm watching this warrior move through life, and I love her. I'm like, girl, I want you to win. So get back up. It's like I'm Mickey in my own corner being Rocky.
Yeah.
Get up. You know what I mean? But it's so true. And it's like, and this is what I love to talk about, to teach, to coach, all the things. Cause it's like, man, be your own best friend, your own ride or die, your biggest fan, be your own coach, be your own Mickey and your own Rocky. And then witness how that feels in life. Like, you want to win. Well, support yourself to win. And a lot of that support factor is going to be in that get up. I don't care if it's hard and it hurts. And I say that with love and compassion. I mean, I feel that in my own life. But if you really love yourself, and if you really believe in the vision that you hold for your life, then you got to get back up. You have to. Yeah.
A lot of things you were talking about there remind me of, I don't know, this has been coming up a lot for me just personally in interviews here, the whole concept of self-love. And I know that you have, like, that is a big part of your being and your content. And what I love most about your approach to it, not only does it remind me of what I think about it, so like it's like, hey, we're on the same vibe, but everything you've been talking about thus far are these steps necessary to get to know ourselves. We need to get to know ourselves, how we're going to perform at our highest level, at our lowest, how we can maintain that success, how we can learn from our low points and our air quote here failures. Because I believe that why so many of us struggle, excuse me, why so many of us struggle with self-love is because we don't yet know thyself. You cannot love anyone. You can't love your significant other, your dog, anybody else in your life until you get to know them. Because what is love without liking, without knowing? And I think we often skip that step with ourselves. We don't really realize maybe that, hey, this is what I got to do first. And I love everything you've been talking about of listening to yourself, the tools necessary, the journaling, the just awareness in any way. That's how you get to know yourself, your true being, what you're capable of, what you want more of. And then you can get to self-love. Would you agree?
No, it's like, I feel like you're like a spokesperson for my 5S formula, and I'll break down.
Oh, nice. We can negotiate terms later. It's cool. Yeah.
Dude, you have the best laugh.
I'll cut you a deal. The Persian version for sure.
Persian version. Oh my God, you're amazing. Yeah, no. So it's perfect. I mean, you laid it out, and I'll expand on it. So of this 5S formula, and really it's like how to live from your most empowered self, right? So, and it has to be sequential in this order. Again, this is all my opinion and my experience. So self-awareness is the anchor, right? Self-awareness then lends to more self-connection. So not only are you aware of yourself and how you think and behaviors, but you start to really connect with your identity and the things that you appreciate, and even the things you have to work on. Like there's a connection piece that comes after self-awareness. When you get more dialed into that connective part, this is where self-love starts to come in, right? And self-love, the way that I speak about it, is not this like fluffy, always feeling great, soft, and it's certainly not self-care. Self-care is an action of self-love for sure. Take the bubble bath, but that's not self-love. That's an action of self-love. Self-love is the getting back up, doing the things that make you uncomfortable, applying discipline, doing hard shit. That's self-love, because you're worth it, right? I'm going to step into the arena, be willing to get punched in the face because I love myself too much to not try, to not bet on myself, right? Now, when you start doing that shit, now we're building real self-confidence.
Think about that real quick. I want the listener to like really, here's a very quick, if maybe you can't relate to that to yourself just yet. You don't fight for people or things in your life that you don't love. You don't show up to, pick up your girlfriend from the airport after just having a huge fight, if you don't love them. You don't show up for the people and things and places that you love in your life that you're not willing to fight for even in that moment. So why should you be any different,
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's a beautiful piece to add in. It's so, I mean, when you flip it like that, I think it's easier for people to go, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's love. That's love. That's love. Shit, where's my love?
So, exactly. And so when you start doing these hard things perpetuated from self-love, now we're in the zone of self-confidence. You're developing real self-confidence, because listen, every time I get back up and I took that punch, I feel more confident of so many things, like what I'm capable of handling, my resilience, my strength, my skill, like all of it, right? Now, put those 4 S's together in full operation, this full party. Now we have the crown jewel, which is self-trust. That's how you develop self-trust. Wow. But that's why the order is so important. And this is not like, oh, there's like, you get to this great place with this stuff and then it's like, you're done. This is life. For the rest of your life, you are investing deposits of energy, of effort in all of these S's, and you just keep expanding on them and fortifying them, right? So like, here we are in 2020, and, I've had to be agile and pivot in some ways in my own career life. And I went the opposite way of like, where a challenge could make someone retract, like I expanded. I was like, literally in my business. I mean, I'm launching a new business and I don't know what the outcome of this further investment is, but I trust myself enough to say whatever comes from this, I'm capable of any need of recovery that is necessary, agility. I'm resourceful, like all of it, right? I have proof. I have proof to this point that even if it's a brand new scenario, I have proof that I can trust myself to move myself through tremendous challenge. If I never positioned myself to gain that trust, I would be playing very small in my life. Not here to do that. Jeez.
Wow. Something sort of kind of profound in my head popped in, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty dumb. So I'm going to ponder it later, and I may throw it in the intro. We'll see. I don't know. I'm going to think on it for a second. It has something to do with like an ocean analogy. Nah, I'll save it for later. I'm pretty sure it's dumb, but this is the beauty of having profound moments like this, and the inner work is like, look, sprinkle the humor in, people. You got to have a sense of humor.
I love it. I'm a calculator. I love it. Like,
one kind of question I have for you, or one kind of next step in what we're talking about here is, like, how do we know this is serving us? And let me explain. I'm a big proponent and believer in, for most things in life, qualitative over quantitative. Like, what is the feeling that this situation, these steps, this success, this failure gives to me versus what checkbox am I, hitting here? But we're doing these things that I believe will yield feeling good daily. Like you said, it is a daily practice for life. But how do we know we're actually gaining momentum? Like, how do we know that these things are like compounding? Like, what are some things that you can advise the listener on to really look at? Like, hey, here's how you can actually measure and maybe even quantify and see, like, this is your life improving. This is your self-love improving. Or what has been, what has worked for you? How do you actually look back and go, yes, I'm on the right path?
well, first of all, and I probably don't even need to preface this because, I mean, it's just who I am. But I will, because people, that listen to your show don't know me maybe yet. But the preface is, when I say this, I'm speaking from absolute truth. I wake up every single day so excited to live my life. Literally, like, now listen, I'm not doing cartwheels out of bed. Like, I'm a slow mover in the morning, and I have a morning ritual that allows me to like be all like slow in my, meditation. But energetically in my heart, I am stoked to live another day and to like get after it. So that's cue number one, right? You're inspired, you're driven,
gratitude,
you're motivated, you're for sure grateful. Being grateful is a lifestyle. It's not like I just feel good, let me thank my life. Like, no, it's like it's a constant, It's important to say, because I mean, it's easy to feel grateful when things are going great. It's not easy to think about gratitude and even in just like, I have lungs in my air and they're clean, and I'm like breathing without even thinking about. I mean, gratitude is a huge piece to my life, but feeling excited to live. Now, other things, I think, in my experience, at least, I'm really moving through life with so much inspiration. Like, I feel curious. I feel open. I feel also, I have this belief that we're not just humans. We're actually an experience. You're giving me an experience. I'm giving you an experience. We are giving our listeners and viewers an experience right now, right?
Yeah.
So when I pay attention to the experience that others get, and when I say others, I'm talking about even the person who brings me coffee at the coffee store, like how they're responding to the experience that I am. That's a sign to me that I'm on my highest path, because usually, and I'm not saying everybody is like, oh my God, I love you, but it's a feel good thing. Like, there's a good, 100%. There's happy energy. Like, and so, that's to me also a piece. And then also, I've noticed things happen when you're on your highest path. You meet the people, the opportunity comes up, the idea comes up. It's like really good timing.
The universe has your back. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah. You know, I feel like so I have on my arm, it says it's all in French, but I'll just say it. And it's like almost so intimate. I don't necessarily share it so much, but I think it's very perfect to put in this moment.
Thank you.
So this is, for sure.
Merci.
And it's my,
Or no. Hold on. I messed up.
Yeah,
Damn it. L'autre fan?
oh, I don't know. I'm not that, I don't
Oh,
know.
merci is thank you, right?
Merci.
Yeah, there we
Perfect.
go.
Yeah.
I'm an
Yeah,
idiot.
no,
Yeah.
you got it. No, you got it. I love it. You're fucking amazing. So this came to me in my writing one day, and it was so profound that I was like, that's it. I have to have it on me. And it's actually, yeah. So I'll say it in English. It says, I am the maestro. The universe is my orchestra. My life is my symphony. So when you say the universe has my back, yeah, that's sure. For me, how I, express it is, this is all on me. Feel good, not feel good. The universe doesn't care, to be honest. It's just going to match you, and it's going to expand whatever you're putting out. Right. So that's my take. It's like the universe is just doing its thing. It's not like I like you, I don't like you. It's like, nah, you're a frequency, and whatever your frequency is, the expansive universe, being itself just expanding, is going to go, yep, more of that, more of that. So when you ask me, how do you know that these things are working? And first of all, you also fucking feel good.
Yeah.
Like I move through my life and I'm like, even on the hardest of hard days, I don't have bad days. And I should say that I'm a logophile. I'm very particular about words, because words are also an experience. I'm like, what's good and bad? It's like, I have highs and hards.
Sure. Yeah.
And some days, but hards again, or something that I'm like, yeah, you had a hard day, but guess what? You kicked out, you did your best and you survived it. So good for you. Another stripe on your belt. Right. So, when I think about, just this, like, how do you know you're on your highest path and you have self-love and you feel good, you feel whole, you feel connected. And here's another important piece. I don't need you to make me feel good. I don't need emotional intelligence. Like, I can self-validate. My self-worth is not dependent on how many likes I get on Instagram or what you think about me. And I'm not saying external validation doesn't have its place. It certainly does. It feels good to receive love and validation. But if I relied on any external self-love, self-worth, self-validation, that is a very dangerous life to live, because that is a variable that can change at any time. The variable that's not going to change is you. You're in you until you're out of here, right? So it's like being able to cultivate this within yourself is really important. And when you can do that by the 5S, in my world, it's like the 5S formula, you walk around and you feel, I'm not saying you're not going to have moments where doubt doesn't come in and your confidence isn't being assaulted by thoughts or by even an external situation, but your ability to hold yourself in strength and steadiness emotionally, being on your team, I feel that is also not just a sign that this stuff is working, but it's like, this is, to me, like, how would you not want to feel that in your life?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
it takes me back to the fundamentals of, like my health coaching practice of when people finally get it's not that, hey, I gave you the magic meal plan or the best workout for your body type kind of stuff. There is an art and a science to that, of course, but it's that moment in the kitchen, in the gym, in your journaling, in your relationship, in your just day, like you pick when you feel good about something in your life that then becomes you feeling good about you in your life.
Yeah.
Like that, like people, we greatly underestimate that feeling. We don't know how good feels until we feel it ourselves. And then there's no going back from there. Right. Yeah.
Literally, I've said that so many. It's so true. Even if you just think about, like, from a health perspective, right? When I was, growing up, it was this mixture of the American diet, and then for sure I had the Persian food too, but like predominantly, like mom was a single mom. Like it was like it was American diet. And then, cut to, I get injured in Taekwondo, blow up my knee, 3 knee surgeries, 2 years in and out of, walking, not walking. So this body type, this mesomorph that was always ripped, it's like my jeans, all of a sudden it wasn't anymore. And that's just the physical aspect of things, right? And then I would be going through my 20s, like trying to get back to homeostasis, the diets, right? Yeah. A lot of discomfort there. But it was the catalyst for me to become such a geek about biology, nutrigenomics, nutraceuticals, and all the things, longevity. And so when I start taking what I'm learning and applying it to my diet, to my lifestyle, it's interesting, more emotional resilience, right? More just energy, feeling good, skin, body composition. It just all starts coming together.
It all feeds each other, right?
It does, right? And then you go, like, this shit feels so good. I honestly say that, like, I'm going to sound like an asshole, but it's okay. I'm also like into cars.
No, exchange asshole for empowered individual. There we go.
I kind of like asshole, but like
yeah, but I'm like
sure
your
not.
asshole. I'm the friendly asshole, Like, we all have that person in our life. It's all good. You get to be ours, Roxy. Thank you.
Truly, yeah. Well, I'm like, I know what it feels like to operate like a Ferrari, and that shit feels good. And I also know what it feels like to not be operating like this.
Exactly.
Right. And when you say, like, you can't turn back, it's like, yeah, exactly. Like, why would I want to, but that's just like, we gave one example here, health, and really it's also connected, but think about when you start feeling what it feels like to really love on yourself and to really hold compassion for yourself and to really be on your team, and you're making things harder on yourself than you need to. Things are already hard, especially if you're going for it in life. Like, it's hard, right? When you start to feel this level of connection of you on your team, you're never going to want to turn back. Like, you can't, because it's uncomfortable. It's like, can you imagine, like, you have the love of your life and then all of a sudden that love is gone? Who wants to feel that, No. So yeah, it's just,
all these things we're talking about, this is how you become the love of your own life. And then once you have that, like the other love in your life, your partner, significant other, like, it is so much more meaningful. And I can tell you, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but like that was one of the most pivotal moments in my relationship now with my wife years and years ago when we were just dating, of really, really hard time in our relationship. But in that time, in those months, it was figure you out. I'm going to figure me out. And then once we were solidified, and truly, Roxy, to bring this full circle, once we had self-love and self-worth and meaning, non-reliant upon other things or other individuals, but we knew where to go ourselves. we knew what we wanted out of life. When you have two individuals like that can come together, it's wild. It's wild.
Wild. I love it. One of my favorite words. It's so true. I think having emotional independence is not only important for an individual, but really important for a team dynamic, a couple, partnership, right? Like, you're not responsible for your wife's happiness, nor is she responsible for yours. Like, you guys have to cultivate that within yourself. And when you're able to think about that, like, two individuals that can cultivate this feeling within themselves, like, and then they come together, like, that's a powerful dynamic right there. That is a force. That is just, so
it truly is.
I really agree. Yeah.
And that could be a whole other episode. Maybe we'll do a part 2 of like how to find the love of your life only after you've mastered self-love. I mean, because think about it. I know these days I don't have a whole lot of, I don't have that many single friends. Yeah. Pretty much everybody's good to go. They're like, oh, like, maybe I don't know if I'm ever going to get married, or like, did I let the right one go, or something like that. And we're always focusing on that other person. Well, right. I believe that the right person will come along in your life, because they're going to be attracted. They're going to resonate to and with the person that you are and the person that you love and the amount of self-love you have. So stop trying to wait to find the other person to fill up you, to make you whole. Like, take care of your own damn self. Like, be you, figure your own shit out, love yourself. Like, that I think is the most attractive thing in the world. Once you got that, like, it resonates, it emanates outside of you. Like, that's how you find people.
I agree with you. I think it certainly does. And it also helps you, the individual who's really living rooted in this self-love, stay very rooted in your worth. Like, you're not willing to compromise and settle. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not saying you're not willing to date and try. I'm saying that you know your worth, and you know the things that, are going to work in a healthy dynamic, and or not, and so it's one part for sure. You're going to call in the individual that is a match, but also that you can stay steady in yourself until that person arrives. Whereas like, there's a lot of not that. There's a lot, I got to find and it's like, whoa, find the person. Yeah, exactly. Find you. Yeah. And then hang out there for a while and get really comfortable in that you. Yeah. And then don't do it because, if I do this, then I call him the person. No, do it because, like I said, you're in you until you're out of here. Do it for that reason, and then just see what happens. And honestly, Chase, I love that you said that and you brought us here, because this goes to the authenticity piece. It's like, I remember when I moved back from New York to LA. And I had been gone for like, whatever, it was 12 years or something. And so, I left as a teenager, and now I'm back as like a young adult woman. And so it was really brand new. And I had my family and like one friend from, my younger years, but it was really like starting all over again. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
And when I was, so I start doing the makeup thing, like going full on into that, and freelance, which is gnarly. It's like you're like hunting for your work, and it's all about who you know and all of that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I remember, there was like friends, like through some of the work, like, oh, come to this. And I was like, cause I've not really like, go to the event. Like, it's just not me, unless I really want to go, obviously. But in these moments, I remember feeling like I don't want to go. And then I remember this is a very, I'm a deep thinker, right? And I think to myself, if you go to these events and you don't genuinely want to be there, well, then you're genuinely not there. Mm-hmm. And if you are genuinely not there, then you're going to attract non-genuine individuals, because go back to the universe.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so then now let's bring this to this moment. So when you were operating from your most authentic self, you are going to have a better opportunity of calling in authentic relationships, opportunities that are really aligned with your most authentic self. You see how that works, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like that was like, that made a lot more sense to me. And for sure, it wasn't necessarily easy, where it's like, I'm in my 30s and it's Friday night, Saturday night, and I lived in New York. I used to throw parties for a living. Like, so now I'm just like home with my journal. Wow. And studying art and studying, fashion and history. And like, this is what I was doing. But to me, the thing is that was honest. And that was always more attractive to me, even though it wasn't always easy, because of course, you feel the feeling of like,
yeah,
should it be out? Yeah. But it's like, not at the cost of not being true to what I really want to be doing and really who I am.
And everything has a cost. Everything has a cost. Nothing in this world is free. It'll take your time, your energy, your resources. At what cost? Powerful point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reminds me of this t-shirt I've seen I forget where, it was like, sorry, I'm late. I didn't want to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
We all know what that means. We all know what that feels like. Yeah.
Totally. There's a meme I posted a long time ago. Like, if it requires a fake smile, I probably won't come. I'm like, for sure, I'm not coming. It's not a probably. Like, it's just, like that stuff. And maybe I have an edge there, because it's really easy to give in. You know, it could have been really easy for me to be like, I don't want to be alone. Right. And so on a Friday night, and I want to, so I'm going to get, and I'm not like, again, this is my experience. I'm not saying like, do you, cause I'll tell you what, I mean, if I want to go out, if I want to, homegirl can go and she will go.
No doubt in my mind.
Right. You can already, you get it. You're shit.
People who don't understand that, they're like, what's happening? What's happening? Yeah, that's a Persian thing, people. Don't worry about it.
Right. Like we got like 10 times closer, just realizing like, you know, your wife is Persian, my ethnicity is Persian. Yeah. It was like, boom, you were already dope, but that was it.
Fun fact, my wife kind of hates now that I've like figured that out. I say it at the most inappropriate times. Like it's like awkward silence. And I'm just like, she's like, not now. We don't say that now. Not now.
Oh my God. That's gotta be so fun. The cultural difference is just so, it makes it so much more flavorful.
Oh,
literally. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I went from a bland vanilla guy to like actually having some culture. Yeah. Like, wow. Like, all right, I'm going to say this. We're going total sidebar now.
I love it.
I didn't know how boring white people were until I started hanging out with like Persians. And I didn't know, like, my upbringing was just so traditional, but it was very much just like a bubble. It was very much just like plain and ordinary. And like, I loved my childhood. I loved my upbringing. I loved my family, not to knock them at all, but it was just like, wow, like there's variety out there. And I got a little taste of that when I was in the military. I mean, because I served next to, you know, men, women of all walks, races, religions, everything. And I think it really did open me up to receive a lot of that different cultural differences and, you know, just belief systems and just daily living for sure. But now that I've actually been like living in it, man, it's wild. It's great. It's life. It's vitality, you know?
Yeah, it's very colorful. You know, my family, my siblings, we grew up not necessarily like the culture has always been there, but my parents are very American in the sense, first of all, very proud Americans. You know, father graduated from USC. My mom is just, she couldn't be more American. It's amazing, but you can't like, I mean, she has the accent. We grew up with the food, the culture's there. And I think one thing that's also very, I don't know if it's like in all Persians, but like certainly in my family, whether it's ethnicity or not, it's certainly something like in our DNA, but like the passion piece. So if you sit at my dinner table, like with my family, first of all, everyone's an alpha. So that's fun. Second of all, you know, everyone's just like so passionate and has opinions and it's like, it was always, you know, it's certainly, I think everyone's a little bit more tame at this stage of our lives, but growing up and friends coming over, well, especially if mom got mad, holy shit, like just like it's just like, whoa, that, you know, I so appreciate, having, you know, parents that come from another country also, because I feel like one of the reasons why I'm able to really be such a proud American is because I've witnessed my parents who came from another country who took advantage of what this country is built off of and just put their heart and souls into like to make the lives and they created from it, you know, and they were able to here. And so I grew up, me and my siblings grew up seeing, the value of really hard work and also what our environment here has afforded us to when that hard work, you know, is put into practice here. It's like you're capable.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, it's one of my favorite words of actually achieving things, you know? So yeah.
Well, I mean, no doubt. I mean, again, that could be a whole other sidebar. I mean, there's no doubt of like our nature, our nurture, our culture, our religion, our upbringing. It will either set us up for success in a lot of areas, or it will provide room for work in others. And I mean, that is something that should be taken into account when we're doing the self work, when we're getting to know ourselves and tap into self love and just, you know, listen to ourselves. You know, how much of that is our upbringing? How much of that is what was just molded into us from a very young age? And how much of that do we align with still? Do we believe? Do we want to kind of like explore? It all needs to be taken accounted for sure.
That's a gold piece that you just put in, because you're right. Because like, boom. No, because I think sometimes people aren't even conscious of like, oh my God, this has been embedded in me because of my
100%.
childhood. And I know as a coach, like there are, I've supported women who have had to face the difficulties of challenging their loved ones who have the best intentions, but the challenge is, no, I need to listen to me and go this way or do this thing. And that's not easy for them. But in the end, I mean, I'm sure you know this story of, I don't remember the name, but a woman who did research where she went to, several homes where, elderly people were basically on their deathbed and asked what are your biggest regrets in life?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the through line was, I didn't live my true life, like my most authentic, what I want to do. I live for others. Right. So it's like a really good thing to say here. Like, I say this a lot to the girls I coach, like, listen, if you have, I love reverse engineering, right? If you have the opportunity, if you're fortunate enough to have the opportunity to be in that moment where you're about to exit and you can reflect back on your life, ask yourself, like, whose life did I live? And if that isn't you, like, well, how does that make you feel? And if it doesn't make you feel good, then girl, you know what you got to start doing.
100%. That's so true. I want to be very mindful of your time. Well, I suck at that. We're already past the top of the hour. So
you're a joy. You're just so much fun.
Likewise, this is like what I live for. And podcast to podcast or coach to coach, like this stuff is just so fulfilling for us. But like, I know so many people listening, watching have just been nodding their heads. Hopefully we've been stirring the pot a little bit for them. Like, that's good. Lean into that.
Totally.
And I want to kind of bring it to a close here. And again, thank you so much for your time. Roxy, before I ask my final question, we'll have all of your information listed down in the show notes for everybody, but where can they go to connect with you more? Like, if they want to go from here to where's next steps for you? Koja.
Oh,
I know little random Farsi blurbs.
It's
That's
so
it.
good. You're like, I hope people are like, yeah, people are like stirred up. And I'm like, I also wanted to insert, and I hope that people got somewhat of an ab workout. Like,
Roxy Kojai on the internet. Kojai.
So best places. So Instagram is Roxy Look. There's Black Belt BD as well, but Roxy Look is my personal account. I'm there a lot more. And blackbeltbd.com. Make yourself at home there. That's where you're going to find my membership platform, Queendom. That's
Congrats
launching.
Again. Going live.
I'm so excited.
By the time this goes out, it'll be live. Yeah.
It'll be live. Yeah. And also the podcast episodes are there, but podcast Black Belt BD Radio is anywhere that you can watch or listen to a podcast. So the hub is blackbeltbd.com and Instagram, Roxy Look.
Cool.
And Black Belt Beauty. Thank you for that. Thank you for this. You are a blast. I'm so just really grateful to be connected, excited to get you on our podcast and dig into your brain and laugh, cackle more with you. So, thank you.
Well, I promise. Well, we'll get for reals. We'll get serious a little bit on there, but also, I'm a dumb dad joke guy. Humor is my lifeblood, but there's a lot more in there. So I'm excited to kind of share that story more with you on your show.
I'm excited to have it. Yeah.
And a big part of my story leads into my last question. Living a life ever forward. It means a lot of things to me. There are various ways that I go about it in terms of awareness and how I live and move and eat and act and sleep. But it all stems from my father. It was this phrase, this mantra that he lived and embodied and said his entire life. And then literally up until his dying breath, 16 years ago now almost, when he passed away, of like, Chase, literally no matter what, like, everything has a purpose for you. Everything happens for you. Even, me leaving this world now, like, this is for you. Ever forward. Never stop just putting one step forward. But I want to know, what does that mean to you? How would you say that you live a life ever forward, Roxy?
Okay, first, I just have to say that's so powerful. I felt that viscerally. So yeah, when I hear the word forward, I feel like I'm also feel again, words are an experience.
Mm.
I feel progression. I feel growth. And when I think about growth, for me, I feel like I'm thriving,
Mm.
right? So it's like constantly positioning yourself to be growing. And in that, you're also positioning yourself to be thriving. And I guess the end piece that would maybe be most potent is, personally, I'm not here to just survive. I'm here to thrive. And that's also what I support everyone that I participate with in this life to do as well. So ever forward is ever thriving.
Mm.
Go.
Yeah. Why survive when we can thrive? It's all possible. It's all possible.
Right. You're capable.
It's all capable. It's almost like you can't prepare for that. Well, this has been incredible. So much fun. Seriously, such a joy. I really enjoyed getting to, to get to know you and build this relationship. And this was very powerful for me. So thank you.
Ditto, homie. Thank you so much. To be continued.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I can already have ideas for part 2. We'll definitely get you back on here soon enough.
I love it. Okay.
I
can't wait. All right.
Everyone's
Just
like, all
close out with
right. We'll cut it there. Thanks, everybody.